in this edition of RPP News. Holiday house owners are asked to step up for the greater good. Locals build a safe haven for koalas, and a state send-off for a Frankston champion. Hello, I'm Catie Sharp. Welcome to the latest edition of RPP News, bringing you stories from across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. The leader has reported an 18-year-old driver will face serious charges after a crash in Seaford left a teenage motorcyclist fighting for his life. Emergency services attended the scene on Old Wells Road at around 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday after reports that a car and a motorcycle had collided. The motorcyclist, a 17-year-old Frankston North boy, was rushed to hospital in a life-threatening condition. The driver and his passenger were uninjured and are assisting with the investigation. A Victoria Police spokesperson said an 18-year-old Carrum Downs driver was charged with reckless conduct endangering life and dangerous driving causing serious injury. Anyone who witnessed the crash or who has information that could assist the investigation has been urged to contact Crime Stoppers. A report was presented to Mornington Peninsula Shire Council this week outlining a proposal to write to all non-residential property ratepayers, asking them to consider putting their peninsula dwellings onto the local rental market as an immediate solution to the housing crisis. Rising rents and property values mean a growing number of local residents are homeless or are at serious risk of becoming homeless. This includes many elderly residents, women and children, often as a result of family violence. The peninsula needs nearly 3,000 homes to meet current demand, and the council unanimously agreed to the proposal. They are also pursuing the Victorian government for $100 million from the Big Housing Build program. Councillor Kerry McCafferty delivered a passionate speech supporting the motion.
Now, I agree that housing is absolutely, it's not a local government issue. So why are we dealing with it? Because the state government has been totally incompetent in the way that they've managed this in the decades prior. We have not had sufficient advocacy from our MPs, and we have not had sufficient investment into our area. And so now we have people living on the beach, and now we have people who cannot find rental properties. And I'm sorry, but roofs over heads is the most important thing that we can do for our community at this point in time.
Meanwhile, in Frankston, a councillor conduct panel held by Local Government Victoria has rejected 9 allegations made by Councillor Stephen Hughes against former Mayor Chris Bolam. In a May hearing, Councillor Hughes claimed Councillor Bolam had behaved in a harassing and disrespectful manner. He claimed the behaviour had affected his physical and mental health and constituted bullying. Councillor Bolam rejected the claims and invited 3 fellow councillors to speak on his behalf. They stated that Councillor Hughes had an adversarial and combative approach, which fellow councillors found disrespectful and at times intimidating. After investigations, which included viewing recordings of council meetings, the panel found that there was no evidence of bullying and that Councillor Bolam's actions were consistent with the role and functions required of him as mayor. They expressed concern with Councillor Hughes' lack of awareness of key components of his role as councillor and reminded him that he was elected not only to represent his ward, but also the entire council. Dirk Jansen of Mornington Peninsula Koala Conservation says the push is on to hit the 20,000 planted tree mark by the end of winter. The project aims to provide the peninsula koala population with a wildlife corridor and biolinks stretching from Summers to Red Hill. Mr Jansen told RPP he has been moved by the level of enthusiasm showed by locals who are turning up in droves to create the corridor.
The amount of work that people want to do on the peninsula is just fantastic. So there's just more. We've got a list of landholders now that want to plant trees or just want help and advice. That's been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, all our trees, they're still quite small. The first ones that we planted at Arthur Seat State Park in 2020, they're probably just about a metre or metre and a half tall. So from a vegetation point of view, not quite yet, but definitely from a community awareness point of view, it's just been fantastic.
If you want to take part in the project, there are many days of activity coming up across the peninsula. Just go to the Mornington Peninsula Koala Conservation website for details. Boxing legend and Frankston local Johnny Famershon is to be honoured with a state memorial service. Famershon, who passed away last week, put Australia on the world boxing map. Following his 1969 world title victory, he received the keys to the city of Melbourne on returning home. He continued to inspire the community long after he left the ring, helping mentor young aspiring boxers at the Frankston Blue Light Boxing Club. Details for the public memorial service will be confirmed soon. And Charlotte Bronte's iconic Gothic tale Jane Eyre plays at the Frankston Arts Centre this week. Adapted for the stage by the critically acclaimed Shake and Stir Theatre Company, the story of a spirited orphan in search of love, family and a sense of belonging will play on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. The production features original music by multi-ARIA award winner Sarah McLeod. Tickets are available on the Frankston Arts Centre website. After the break, we have Nicola with this week's weather report.
Everyone knows Australia has 4 big banks, but the 5th biggest retail bank is snapping at their heels. It's a bank that's been around for over 160 years, can be found in over 500 locations nationwide, looks after over 1.8 million customers, and is regularly voted one of the most trusted brands out of all the thousands of brands in Australia. Who is this fantastic number 5? Yep, it's Bendigo Bank. The better big bank.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs, a station sponsor.
I'm Nicola, back with this week's RPP weather update. Well, as Leah told us last week, rain keeps being predicted, but instead we have had some lovely sunny winter days. Let's see if this trend will continue. Today, Sunday the 14th of August, saw a mostly overcast day, with some rain over parts of the peninsula late in the afternoon. We saw a high of 14 and a low of 8. Tomorrow, Monday the 15th, should bring a lot of rain across the peninsula. In fact, according to the weather radar, we should receive 100% coverage of rain all day. Expect a high of 13 and a low of 8. Tuesday sees the rain easing a bit with a top of 14 and a constant low of 8. Wednesday, the 17th of August, sees the rain gaining strength again, bringing us a high of 14 and a low of 7. Thursday, the warmest day of the week, sees up to 15 millimetre of rain across the peninsula to help you wash down a top of 15 and a respectable low of 9. Friday sees more of the same with a top of 13 and a low of 7. And finally, Saturday sees the rain easing again with a high of 12 and a low of 6. Well, that's all for this week. Try to stay warm and dry, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.
And now to our surf guru, Muzz, with the Surf Report.
Hey, it's Muzz back here with this week's Mornington Peninsula Surf Report. Reasonable week this week we just had, so there was fortunately a few consecutive days, but on the beach breaks again we're having this run of very small swells, nothing big, but at least there was 3-4 days on the beach breaks this week, so you should have got in the water. So you know, not all time, but a couple of okay days and 1 or 2 windy days and a few days where the tide came in and just killed it because there wasn't much swell around, and it's looking like that's going to continue today, but finally on Sunday we're going to get a fairly decent push of swell, and the wind should be okay, so we're looking at maybe a norwesterly into a westerly, and it should be Western Port Bay by the late afternoon by the looks of it. There should be a big push in the swell, although there is another one of these pesky highs down very far south that's batting away a lot of these westerly fronts, so you know, the conditions are changing all the time, and to be accurate in a certain report's a little difficult at the moment, but looks like Sunday and a Monday definitely. Then Tuesday it should go back to the northwest, but the swell will start to drop out Wednesday and Thursday next week. So you should be able to get in the water most days, with probably Sunday being the pick of the days for solid swell, probably in Western Port, and maybe Monday, but the wind will be a bit debatable. So, but you know, spring's nearly here, so if we're looking for changeable conditions, it's only going to get worse. So let's just hope we get a last hurrah for the last couple of weeks of winter. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week.
And that's all from our team here at RPP News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and do tell your friends. Bringing you the news from coast to coast across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.